This lesson is about density. Density is a ratio between the mass and the volume of a substance. Now, the mass of a substance is a measure of how much matter, that is atoms and molecules, it contains. We measure the mass using a balance. We measure mass in kilograms, the symbol of which is small kg, or grams, the symbol of which is a small g, for smaller objects. And the volume is the space that an object takes up. Here we have a cube. The volume of this cube is 1 centimeter cubed because each side of this cube is 1 centimeter, and we determine the volume by calculating the length, the breadth, and the height. So in this case, 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter equals 1 centimeter cubed. Here's another cube, a larger one, and the sides are 1 meter, and so the volume of this cube will be 1 meter cubed because the length is 1 meter, the width is 1 meter, and the height is 1 meter. And 1 meter times 1 meter times 1 meter is 1 meter cubed. Here's our cube, and this cube has a volume of 1 centimeter cubed. If we were to fill this cube with water, it would have a mass of 1 gram, meaning that the mass of water that can fill a cube that has a volume of 1 centimeter cubed is 1 gram. Similarly, if we were to take a larger cube, the one that has a volume of 1 meter cubed, and we were to fill it with water, the mass of water in that cube will be 1,000 kilograms. Now here we have 3 cubes, each with a volume of 1 centimeter cubed, and we have filled one with chlorine, one with water, and one with gold. And so the question is, will they have the same mass? And the answer is no, they won't. They will not have the same mass because gold, water, and chlorine do not have the same density. They do not have the same amount of matter for the same amount of volume. Let's illustrate this a little bit better. Have a look at this diagram. Here we have our chlorine, our water, and our gold. And if we were to zoom in and look inside of them, imagine that these little circles are the atoms within the cube of each of the elements. So chlorine has only 5 atoms. This is obviously a diagram. We'll have a lot more because we understand that atoms are very, very small. So for the sake of our diagram, chlorine has few molecules compared to water, which has more, compared to gold, which has even more molecules squeezed into the same amount of space. So if you were to put them on a scale and get the mass, then you would see that the mass of chlorine compared to the mass of water compared to the mass of gold would not be the same because they have different amounts of matter squeezed into the same space. Imagine that you had 3 buses. One of them had 5 people in, another had 20 people in, another had 50 people in. Then definitely if you were to measure the mass of the bus, how much it weighed, then we would know that they wouldn't be the same. So why do these 3 have different masses? We said because they have different amounts of matter, even though the space is the same. It's very important that you understand that. The volume might be the same, and in this case, the volume of each cube is 1 centimeter cubed. However, the mass is different, and therefore the density of each one is also different. More matter squeezed in the same space. So here are our cubes again, empty. And if we were to take them one by one, we would realize that chlorine has a density of 3.2 grams per liter. Meaning that if you had a liter container, for example, a milk or a juice carton, and you filled it with chlorine, and if, assuming that the carton had no mass at all, then the chlorine within it would take up a mass of 3.2 grams in every liter, which is equivalent to 0.032 grams in a cubic centimeter. So in this diagram here, we have a cubic centimeter, a cube which is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, and it means that the chlorine would have a mass of 0.032 grams. And if you look at water, water has a density of 1 kilogram per liter, which means that if you were to get that carton of juice and put water in it, and assuming that the carton itself had no mass, then you would find that it would be measuring 1 kilogram per liter on the scale, which is equivalent to 1 gram per centimeter cubed. And lastly, gold has a density of 19.32 grams per liter, or 19.32 grams per centimeter cubed, which is a lot more than water and a lot more than chlorine. And so we realize that even though substances may have the same volume, because they contain more matter, they have greater density, more matter squeezed into the same space, then you will see that the mass of substance will be different for each substance. So here, for example, to understand this better, here we have said 1 centimeter cubed of chlorine will have a mass of 0.032 grams per centimeter cubed. But what would happen if you had 4 liters of chlorine, or 8 centimeters cubed of chlorine? Well, that's where density comes in handy, because when you understand that the density of a substance tells you how much matter there will be for any amount of volume, then you can easily calculate it. So what we're saying is that if 1 liter of chlorine, if you look here, has a mass of 3.2 grams, then 4 liters of chlorine will have a mass 4 times as much. And 4 times 3.2 grams is 12.8 grams. This is a very important concept to understand as we move into doing calculations involving density, mass, and volume. So I'll explain it again. The density of chlorine is such that 3.2 grams per liter, meaning that for every liter of chlorine that you have, you get a mass of chlorine 3.2 grams. And so if you have 4 liters of chlorine here, then the mass will be 4 times that. That should make sense to everybody. So this is how we relate density, mass, and volume. Density equals mass divided by volume. So density here at the bottom corner, mass at the top, volume at the bottom. Copy this triangle. Make sure you understand it, because that will prepare you for solving questions regarding density, mass, and volume.